The Nova 8, Huawei's mid-range device announced last year, has just come onto our shores. Would this be a solid addition to your vlogging arsenal? It comes in just one color, the blush gold, which is a beautiful mix of glossy and matte textures on the back, complemented by a stunning hue-shifting color scheme. It's comfortable in our hands, but it may get slippery without a phone cover. Probably recommended since it also can be a bit of a fingerprint monster, and well, they include one in the box already. At only 169 grams with a thickness of 7.64mm, it will be one of the lightest phones you'll see out there. If you watch a lot of videos, you'll be glad to know the Nova 8 features a 6.57-inch OLED Full HD Plus curved screen, which supports 10-bit color depth, with a 90Hz refresh rate and 240Hz touch sampling rate. Its bright display and added depth gets it that little extra, making for an enjoyable experience when watching your favorite TV shows and movies on Netflix. As with most bezel-less designs, false touches are to be expected, but Huawei claims an AI-supported mistouch prevention, which frankly works pretty well. We have yet to experience any accidental touches so far. It has an in-display fingerprint reader which doesn't miss a beat, and the haptic sensors provide a premium vibration feedback to the touch. However, the monospeaker construction isn't the best. Probably not ideal for movies since it doesn't provide as immersive of an experience, but is decent enough for casual viewing, like watching some of our videos on YouTube. There's also no audio jack, but most people are likely to have wireless earphones anyway, so no harm done. The Huawei Nova 8 is powered with 8 gigs of RAM and runs on a new Harmony OS EMUI 12 with a more minimalistic design and now with enhanced accessibility for single-handed use. It's worth mentioning that Huawei's improvement over Harmony OS continues to focus on cross-device compatibility, so serious Huawei users reap the benefits of using Harmony OS features and functionalities throughout the ecosystem. After all, they are positioning themselves as a third option for consumers compared to iOS and Android. Running on a Kirin 820E chip, our benchmark test for the Nova 8, however, shows that it's slightly underpowered compared to other mid-range phones, scoring only 566 for the single-core test and 1909 for the multi-core test. Given a lighter and slimmer body, it still pays off with a decent battery capacity at 3,800 mAh, slightly under the typical capacity of this tier, but it would most likely last you the day with normal usage. If in doubt, you'll still be supported with the 66-watt USB-C Huawei supercharged charger, which brings you to 60% in 15 minutes. We tested it out ourselves, and yes, it is that fast. This version released in Malaysia, however, will not come with 5G capabilities. Considering Malaysia has announced plans to roll out 5G services in 5 major cities by 2022, you might want to look out for a phone that is 5G ready if you happen to be in one of those cities, but it's not a deal breaker for most. Now for the prime event. The Nova 8 comes with a quad camera array on the back with a 64-megapixel main camera, 8-megapixel ultra-wide lens, 2-megapixel depth sensor, and a 2-megapixel macro lens, and at the front, a 32-megapixel selfie camera. Autofocus is great for taking still objects. It captures what you want in a point-and-shoot style while managing exposure accurately. But it's not quite ideal for moving subjects such as pets or humans, as its shutter speed isn't as fast as we'd like it to be, and it always feels like it's hunting for a subject but never gets to lock on when you need it to. Images come out slightly more saturated and underexposed when switching between focal lengths. Meanwhile, the AI function does its best to combat this. Colors can look blotchy in low light conditions. It definitely helps process out most of the noise from the image, but it may distort some textures such as skin complexion, fabrics, and other surfaces. To put it simply, the pictures come out smoother than expected due to the extensive processing by the AI. It almost seems as if beauty mode is always on, even when it's completely turned off. Coming into the Nova 8's video capabilities, it's where we feel it shines the most. Video stabilization is great. At 4K 30 frames per second, footage is crisp and sharp. It holds up really well in bright natural light settings while giving a decent amount of high dynamic range when shooting outdoors. Artificial lighting, however, will create some noise, as to be expected from a large 64-megapixel sensor. Overall, it's a great main camera for casual or even serious use and more than capable for all of your creative needs. The slow motion mode tops at 1080p at 120 frames per second and an impressive 240 frames per second at 720p. It produces decent footage given enough light and a useful feature for content creators or anyone who wants a more creative style to add in their inventory. You can't always walk around with a DSLR, so the Nova 8 could be your best bet at a well-rounded vlogging tool with 5 built-in cameras, including a great 32-megapixel front-facing camera. As our resident video producer, Fitri gives his thoughts on the matter.
Hey guys! Well, as a vlogger myself, I believe the best camera you have on you at all times is the best camera in your arsenal. The Nova 8 here definitely caters to all video creators, and I'm genuinely stunned by this front-facing camera. But we'll let you decide on what your thoughts are by sharing them in the comments down below.
Something that always needs to be said, however, Huawei not being supported by Google Mobile Services does take getting used to. But more essential apps are now available on Huawei's app gallery, like most of the banking apps and contact tracing apps. For the rest, there are several workarounds, like downloading apps direct from official websites like for WhatsApp and Facebook. Quick Apps, which saves your unavailable apps into a shortcut via the Huawei browser, and downloading from APK sites. Security may be an issue considering it directs us to third-party sites, and it won't always be the most updated version. Overall, the Huawei Nova 8 sits comfortably in 2021 with a wide array of cameras, great image stabilization, a 6.57-inch OLED display, beautiful construction and design. From where we're sitting, it doesn't seem like the tech giant is ever going to slow down and aims to be a major contender as they once were in the near future. We can't help but be optimistic about what Huawei has to offer when things finally play out. Considering some of its software shortcomings, walk into this with eyes wide open. We think it's a decent mid-range phone that packs enough of a punch for you to consider, while seeding into most of your creative needs. For more simplified content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.